Start the game with 3000 martial saints and jump to the Supreme God Chapter 1. Travel through the fantasy world. Black Tortoise Realm, Northern Wilderness Continent. This is a paradise for villains and demons, and no Supreme God sect will set up its own sect here. Because the world of Northern Wilderness, spiritual chi, is the thinnest state among the 5 states, covered by endless desert. It looks very desolate, and because there is no Supreme God sect, the Northern Wilderness has become a place of escape for all Devil Deo villains in the Black Tortoise world. After tens of thousands of years, Baihuang has completely become the state of Devil Deo. On the Northern Wilderness, all kinds of burning, killing and looting happened every day, and blood and bones could be seen everywhere. A Devil Deo sect as small as sand in the Northern Wilderness, inside the Demon Sea sect. Chen Fan lay lazily on a rock, helplessly looking at the panic-stricken juniors, and fled outside the sect with all his belongings. After a while, Mo Haizong's entire sect was left in a mess, empty of people. It's finally gone, and it saves me from being clean. Chen Fan slowly stood up from the rock, and stretched himself. A powerful charm emanated from his gestures, and his eyes were as deep as the sea. Brother, how could they do this? They are simply a bunch of ungrateful beasts. A delicate and naive girl's voice sounded beside Chen Fan, her tone full of anger. He, junior sister, this is the nature of human beings. Now that our master has passed away, the Demon Sea sect is not protected by a strong martial saint. It is just a piece of fat. But the master was kind to them before he was alive, so they defected to sect like this. Qing Ling's expression was cold, and a murderous intent appeared on his slightly chubby face. If Chen Fan hadn't stopped her, Qing Lingzi would have sent all those defectors to meet her master. Human nature is so, little junior sister doesn't need to care so much. Chen Fan looked indifferent, turned around and walked towards the back mountain of Demon Sea sect. Humph! Qing Lingzi snorted coldly, and then followed closely behind Chen Fan. Just this morning, the only strong martial saint in the Demon Ocean sect was ambushed thousands of miles away from the sect and returned with serious injuries. It didn't take a while to return to sect, before Chen Fan's eyes shattered and his body disintegrated. Good guy. The master died on the first day of time travel. Chen Fan stared at what happened in front of him dumbfounded, and the memories of the 2 lives were still emerging in his brain. Chen Fan is not from this world, he was just an ordinary office worker in a blue star, living a 9-to-5 life every day. He didn't expect to sleep, open his eyes again and travel through time. This is too hasty. Fortunately, Chen Fan has been in the professional market for a long time, and soon accepted the fact that one travels peacefully. After Chen Fan sorted out all the memories in his mind, something like this happened to Mo Haizong. He was usually a big senior brother with incomparable prestige, but now he has become a rebel clan in an instant, and now only his junior sister, Qing Lingzi, is still by his side and has not left. Stupid and cute. Chen Fan glanced at Qing Lingzi behind him and shook his head. I can only use this to describe my little junior sister. Qing Lingzi is probably the only one who can maintain such a pure heart in this murderous and frenzied northern wilderness. Chen Fan and Qing Lingzi quickly passed through the ruined Great Hall and came to the mountain behind sect. This back mountain has always been a forbidden area of the Demon Sea sect. Before, there was no sect leader's order that anyone should not approach the back mountain for a kilometer. Anyone who disobeyed the order will die. This made many elders, disciples of Demon Sea sect, full of greed. They all thought that there must be some heavenly and mortal treasures hidden on the back mountain. Now that the sect leader is dead, no one cares about the sect rules. Those disciples elder immediately rushed to the back mountain to explore, but they dug the whole back mountain 3 feet, but they didn't find anything. These damn traitors. Qing Lingzi looked at the huge pits everywhere on the back mountain with embarrassment, and cursed angrily. Chen Fan did not speak, and without any expression on his face, he walked towards the top of the back mountain. Now this moment should be the time of sex, life and death. Before Chen Fan's chief master was about to die, he told Chen Fan that as long as sect was in a life and death moment, he would go to the top of the back mountain and use special methods to keep the Demon Sea sect. This is also the reason why Chen Fan didn't panic at all as the enemy was approaching. Eldest brother, what are we doing here? Qing Lingzi asked with a hint of puzzlement flashing in his big bright eyes. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Chen Fan said indifferently, walking towards the top of the mountain. Oh. The two soon came to the top of the back mountain, and what they saw was also a mess, with huge pits everywhere. Chen Fan walked to an open space, a dark aura gushed out from all over his body and enveloped him, and a cold light flashed from Chen Fan's eyes. Chen Fan shouted loudly, spiritual qi surged out of his whole body, and Chen Fan's hands transformed into two giant black palms that shrouded the heavens and blasted towards the ground on the top of the mountain. Boom! A loud noise broke through the sky, and the aftermath of powerful energy spread from the back mountain. The black giant palm printed two deep pits of tens of meters on the back mountain, and the black breath poured into the soil, covering the entire back mountain. Chapter 2: The Mysterious Figure in the Back Mountain. Hey Sha killing palm! What a powerful force! Qing Lingzi stared up at Chen Fan's figure with staring eyes. Chen Fan was floating in the sky above the back mountain, looking at the unresponsive back mountain below. He frowned. How come there is no response? Could it be that he shot too lightly? This is no joke. If Yushin didn't have the method that Chen Fan's chief master said to reverse the extermination of the sect, Chen Fan would have left long ago. After a quarter of an hour passed, there was still no movement on the back mountain, only Qing Lingzi stood there quietly waiting for Chen Fan. Don't play with it like this. There was a trace of bitterness on Chen Fan's face. Can you still let me escape together now? Apparently the reality is cruel, the vision outside the Demon Sea sect has mutated. Several horrific auras struck, instantly covering the entire Demon Sea sect, and a terrifying sense of oppression enveloped Chen Fan and Qing Lingzi, making them breathless. GG. I didn't expect that there are still two little dolls who haven't escaped yet. The old guy Mo Heizi has returned to the west now, and it's time to unravel the secret of his back mountain. Of course, it's agreed that the things in the back mountain will be born, and we will share them equally. No problem. I have long been curious about what is hidden in the back mountain of the Moheizong forbidden area. I have no problem either, no problem. A series of aged and hoarse voices came from the sky, and 5 figures descended on the back mountain of Demon Sea sect. The terrifying breath came out of them. 5 strong martial saints. Chen Fan shrank his eyes, and his figure flashed in front of Qing Lingzi. His face was very embarrassed. Damn, Chief Master deceived me. Chen Fan was full of regrets in his heart. If he had known this was the case, he would have pretended to be a savior, saved the demon Haizong, and would have slipped away long ago. In the sky above the back mountain of Mo Haizong, among the 5 terrifying and majestic figures, an old woman in black walked out. She exuded a very disgusting smell, as if she was dead. The old woman held a snake-headed crutch in her skinny hand, glanced at Chen Fan and Qing Lingzi with her dark eyes, and landed on the back mountain. It looks ordinary. Why does this old Moheizong care so much about the back mountain? The old woman said. The teeth in her mouth had fallen out, and she looked very creepy. Just blow it away and you'll know, sloppy. A middle-aged man with a shirtless upper body stood up. The air was filled with explosive muscles, and his upper body was covered with wounds. The middle-aged man said ferociously, and without further words, he swung his huge axe and slashed towards the back mountain below, and a saber intent to tear the shattering void appeared. Several other people saw this, without any expression on their faces, quietly hiding themselves in the void. Damn it! Chen Fan looked at the attacking saber intent. His expression changed drastically. He grabbed Qing Lingzi's collar and quickly retreated for several miles behind the mountain. Martial Saint's blow was simply not something he could resist now. "Little guys, don't try to run away." The hoarse voice of the old woman suddenly rang in Chen Fan's ear, and a mysterious force turned into a rope to imprison Chen Fan's Qing Lingzi. "GGG, this boy's extraordinary cultivation base can be refined into a weapon soul, this girl can be my sect disciple as a human cauldron." A sneer appeared on the old woman's dark spotted face. "This old guy." Chen Fan suddenly felt a chill coming from the soles of his feet. But at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Very noisy. Boom. A white light flashed out from the back mountain, and the whole back mountain was shrouded in this white light. Ding. There was a sound of metal and iron clanging when the knife was slashed on the back mountain. The terrifying sword intent instantly shattered and disappeared into the air. The 5 strong martial saints in the sky looked down at the back mountain with solemn expressions, and they felt a powerful force slowly waking up in the back mountain. Chen Fan on the side also looked at the back mountain covered by white ons at the moment. Is this what the Chief Master said, can turn the tide of the battle? How is it a person? Huh? Where are the Mohe-Iza people? Who are you? The existence in the back mountain suddenly snorted coldly. Humph. Playing tricks. Let's all shoot together. The middle-aged man high in the sky roared angrily, and a red mist gushed out from his muscular upper body, spreading over his giant axe. The middle-aged man yelled loudly, and the void around his body was shattered by his sound waves. Like a dragon revived and a tiger roared on the giant axe, a knife intent that tore through the sky swept down. When the other 4 people heard the words, they also shot one after another, and the supreme supernatural power appeared from their hands and attacked the back mountain below. Hey, Mohe-Iza's aura has disappeared in the northern wilderness, and he seems to be dead. The voice from the back mountain sounded faintly again. The entire back mountain began to shake, countless gravel rolled down from the mountain, and a figure in white appeared in the sky of the back mountain instantly. Since you dare to attack Mohe-Iza, you really don't know how to live or die. The figure in white was shrouded in white light, making it impossible to see any of his appearance. Seeing the 5 attacks coming, the figure in white floated quietly in the sky without any panic. The thin figure looked extremely small under the attack of the 5 martial saints. Chapter 3 Good luck to the system. Broken. The white figure sighed softly, and a thread of ignorance suddenly appeared from her figure. The entire Demon Sea sect's radius of 100 miles seemed to be held in her palm, and she was the master of everything here. The attacks of the 5 martial saints instantly shattered into pieces in the air, turning into nothing. The entire body of the 5 martial saints seemed to have been slammed, and a large amount of blood flowed out from cracks all over their bodies, dripping from high altitude, and smashing countless deep holes on the ground. This is the terrifying power of Martial Saint, one step on Martial Saint, half into Earth Immortals. Once you step into the Martial Saint cultivation base, you are no longer invincible. But that's why the terrifying Martial Saint of cultivation base was seriously injured by the blow of the white figure. Half into the great saint. The old woman looked at the white figure below in horror, and fear filled her whole body. The other 4 martial saints also looked at the white figure below in horror, filled with remorse. There is no such thing as heavenly and mortal treasures in the back of the Demon Sea sect, it is simply a place of no return. The existence of the semi-involved great saint is not something they can resist the enemy at all. This kind of cultivation base is only owned by those big sect leaders in the northern wilderness. Escape. The old woman screamed, and she no longer had the expression she had just now. She turned around and stepped into the void, trying to escape from this place. The other 4 needed her to remind them, and they dragged their seriously injured bodies and sneaked into the void. Humph. Still want to escape in front of me? The white figure snorted coldly, and slowly stretched out a slender palm, tapping lightly in the void. The 5 martial saints let out a scream as if struck by lightning, their bodies exploded in the void, and the 5 gods floated out of their bodies, and fled to the distance without looking back. The white-clothed figure didn't give them any chance. A black vortex appeared on the slender fingertips, devouring the souls of 5 martial saints. After devouring Martial Saint's soul, the aura of the white-clothed figure became even more terrifying, like a monstrous beast looking down at the sky. Is this the end? Chen Fan swallowed, looking at the white figure in the sky. He was amazed. He didn't expect that Mohe Izong still hides the existence of a half-step great saint. Unfortunately, no matter how Chen Fan watched, his field of vision was blocked by the white light from the figure in white, unable to penetrate in. Chen Fan didn't even know if the figure in white was a man or a woman, or what he looked like. You guys should go away. I'm done with Mo Haizong's karma, and I won't be here to protect Mo Haizong anymore. The white-clothed figure glanced at Chen Fan and said lightly. 3 phone calls have been used, so you can do it yourself. The figure in white turned around, walked into the void and disappeared high in the sky. The oppressive feeling in the air disappeared, and Chen Fan and Qing Lingzi slowly landed on the back mountain. Chen Fan found a boulder and lay directly on the rock, panting for breath. The situation just now was so dangerous that Chen Fan almost thought he was going to cross again. At this moment, an indifferent mechanical voice suddenly sounded in Chen Fan's mind. Ding! The system is being activated. The activation is successful. Bind the host successfully. Ding! Good luck, the system will serve you. The sudden system sound made Chen Fan startled. Damn you! Daddy's gold finger is finally here. I've already experienced a catastrophe of life and death before you appeared. Chen Fan complained and exhaled slowly. During this morning, Chen Fan experienced for himself how cruel the fantasy world is. If you don't have enough strength, you might die on this continent. The 5 martial saints taught Chen Fan a good lesson just now. 1 second he was a terrifying dragon, and the next second he turned into an ant that was randomly crushed to death. What is your system's ability? Chen Fan said silently in his heart. What he has to do now is to quickly grasp the functions of the system and improve his own cultivation base through the system. As soon as the words fell, the mechanical and cold system sounded in Chen Fan's mind. Good luck comes to the system. The host only needs to hunt down the lucky people and devour some of their own luck points. With such luck points, the host can draw a lottery. There are 2 big lottery sections in this system. The first type is drawn by the strongest characters. The strongest character selection. Chen Fan was a little puzzled. A huge roulette appeared in front of Chen Fan's eyes, and the sound of the system rang in Chen Fan's ears. Lucky draw for strong characters. The host can turn the roulette and get the corresponding strong characters drawn as own subordinates. The ones drawn may be ordinary people, or they may be strong people from cultivation-based Tongtian. It may be a person, or it may be a legion. As for what you can get, it depends on the host's own luck. Good guy. The gap is so big. Chen Fan probably understood what the system said. The function of the system can be said to be very heaven-defying, and it is of great use to Chen Fan's current situation. Chen Fan wants to give it a try now to see what he can get. All kinds of awesome characters that I saw on TV in the previous life kept pouring out in my mind. If a sun monkey who is making troubles in the heavenly palace is chosen, or Dongfang Bubi who dominates rivers and lakes, what kind of sparks will they create in this world? Chapter 4 Novice Gift Pack, 3000 Martial Saint Powerhouses. Chen Fan thought for a while, the corners of his mouth raised. With the power of the system, all this is not impossible. Do you get luck points by hunting people with luck? Chen Fan's handsome face showed a sinister smile. In the northern wilderness of the Slaughter Paradise, cultivators are ambushed and hunted down every day. Qing Lingzi on the side looked suspiciously at eldest senior brother On, not knowing what he was thinking, but such a strong murderous aura leaked from his body. Then how to distinguish Son of Fortune? Chen Fan asked, luck is very illusory, and it is impossible to distinguish it without special methods. The host, please look at King Lingzi. Hearing the system's words, Chen Fan was taken aback and turned to look at his own junior sister. It was only then that he noticed a string of data appeared above King Lingzi's head. Target, King Lingzi. Physique, Qingli and Divine Body. Luck value, 10,000. Note, luck value will increase with the increase of the cultivation base of the body. 10,000 luck points? Not bad. Chen Fan nodded, being able to see everyone's luck value clearly would save Chen Fan a lot of trouble. What about the second lottery section? Chen Fan asked. The second type of lottery section, the host can use the luck value to draw various items, the ultimate Taoist soldier. The Shanao Xianjing. The supreme physique. The heaven-defying life-changing elixir. It is possible to draw. As for what you can draw, it still depends on the luck of the host. I see, in general, it all depends on own luck, right? Yes. Chen Fan lowered his head and pondered for a moment. Although the lucky system ability he got was very practical, it was heaven-defying. But everything depends on one's own luck. If one's own luck breaks out, it is possible to directly draw the powerhouse of cultivation-based Tongtian, or various heaven-defying items. If you are unlucky, it is very likely to draw ordinary people or things that are useless. Ding! The system newcomer gift package arrives in the account. The host gets a free lottery draw. May the host choose to buy a lottery section. Chen Fan's expression was shocked, and he pulled King Lingzi beside him to leave the ruined back mountain, and headed for the Great Hall of Demon Sea Sect. For the first lottery draw, Chen Fan didn't want to affect his good luck because of Feng Shui's problem. He wants to find a quiet place and draw the lottery properly. In the empty Great Hall, 9 black pillars surrounded by black dragons stand upright. There is not a ray of sunlight in the Great Hall, which looks gloomy and cold. The figures of Chen Fan and King Lingzi appeared in the Great Hall. Chen Fan sat on the first seat and said with a serious face, "The strong character will be drawn." Now there are only Chen Fan and King Lingzi left in Mo Haizong. Chen Fan urgently needs a strong subordinate. Even if you are unlucky and the character you draw is not strong, you can still send him out to search for news. Therefore, it is more cost-effective to draw strong characters. The host is sure to choose the strong character to draw. Sure. Chen Fan said. As the words fell, a huge illusory roulette quickly rotated in front of Chen Fan. Under Chen Fan's nervous gaze, the roulette stopped. An extremely terrifying atmosphere spread in the Great Hall, making Chen Fan and King Lingzi breathless. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Bloodthirsty Legion in the Martial Saint realm. The Bloodthirsty Legion of Martial Saint originally belonged to a certain intermediate world. There are a total of 3,000 people, all of whom are from the peak realm of Martial Saint. 10 of the captains are even the pride of heaven with supreme physique. After hearing the system's notification tone, Chen Fan's heart trembled, and ecstasy appeared on his face. Is this Huang's upper body? An army composed of 3,000 Martial Saint peak powerhouses. Every member of the Bloodthirsty Legion is proficient in various fighting cultivation techniques. It can be said that each of them is a fighting maniac. The 10 captains can leapfrog the enemy. Now that the character has been summoned, does the host choose to summon? Hearing the system's notification tone, Chen Fan's heart surged with shock. Such an army can be said to be tailor-made for Chen Fan at this moment. With such an army, he can completely shake the Demon Sea Sect, and even use this army to dominate the troubled times of the Northern Desolation. Those sect geniuses and handsome men in the Northern Wilderness will be Chen Fan's prey, waiting for Chen Fan to hunt and kill them. Chen Fan seemed to have seen a lot of luck points floating towards him, and laughed wildly. King Lingzi on the side looked at Chen Fan in the first seat in puzzlement, not knowing what he was so happy about. System, summon. Chen Fan whispered without hesitation. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully summoning the Bloodthirsty Legion. Immediately, ripples appeared in the void inside the Great Hall of Mohe Izong, and a Daoist shadow came out in an orderly manner, like a legion. Everyone was wearing the same dark red clothes, with a metal mask that seemed to be crying and smiling. The weird masks make people fall into the sanity just by looking at them, as if there is some nameless charm on the masks. After all the members of the 3,000 Bloodthirsty Legion walked out of the void, the originally empty Great Hall was filled with black and red figures. Pairs of bloodthirsty and brutal eyes were revealed from the mask, giving people a strong sense of oppression. The air within 100 miles of the Demon Sea sect froze, and the temperature dropped by more than 10 degrees. Eldest brother, who are they? Qing Lingzi held his small mouth in shock, his eyes fixed on the members of the Bloodthirsty Legion below. She found that the aura of each of these people was stronger than her own dead master. What does this mean? At this moment, these people who suddenly appeared in the Great Hall of Demon Sea sect are all Martial Saint realm. 3,000 legions of the Martial Saint cultivation base. I'm afraid that those Supreme God sects don't have so many Martial Saints. The Bloodthirsty Legion pays respects to the Master. 3,000 Martial Saints knelt down and saluted Chen Fan, as if Chen Fan was their king. The sound was huge, resounding through the sky, shattering the surrounding void. Chapter 5 3,000 Martial Saints come out. The northern wilderness shook. Bloodthirsty Legion? Master? Qing Lingzi was stunned. Senior brother On is their master? Master of 3,000 Martial Saint cultivation base powerhouses? Okay, let's get up. Chen Fan nodded in satisfaction, looking at the bloodthirsty army threatening the huge army below. With such an army in hand in the early stage, the entire northern wilderness will become a paradise for him to hunt and kill prey. Junior sister, this is a secret of mine. Chen Fan explained to Qing Lingzi, who was at the side. In the future, there will be another Bloodthirsty Legion. We will definitely reshape the reputation of the Demon Sea sect, and let the name of the Devil Sea sect resound throughout the entire northern wilderness. No. It is the entire Black Tortoise world. Chen Fan stood up and said, a domineering aura of a king was revealed from the depths of his eyes, and at this moment he seemed to have really descended from heaven. I believe in you, big brother. Qing Lingzi looked at Chen Fan adoringly, a trace of inexplicable affection appeared deep in his heart. Chen Fan smiled, restrained his breath, returned to his original state, and sat back on the head seat. Which of you is the captain of the Bloodthirsty Legion? As soon as the words were finished, 10 figures with metal masks came out. Their masks were slightly different from the others, and there was a crimson drop of blood on their foreheads. The aura on his body is much stronger than that of other people, like a crouching tiger, hidden dragon ready to attack, which makes people extremely frightened. These 10 people are the captains of the Bloodthirsty Legion. Everyone has the supreme physique. The cultivation-based talent is not weaker than those god-sons of the Supreme God sect in the Black Tortoise world. Subordinates greet the master. The 10 people walked forward, knelt on the ground, and looked respectfully at Chen Fan, who was sitting in the first seat with their eyes under the masks. Okay, get up. Chen Fan said, looking at the 10 people. Do you have your own name? Master, we only have a code name. A figure said. My name is Chui, and so on. Chui said. Understood. Chen Fan nodded, looking at the Martial Saint Legion that filled the Great Hall. He felt a little incredulous again. Master, do you need us to do something for you now? Chuyi asked. Now. Of course. Chen Fan stood up abruptly, with a grin on his face. Chen Fan already has an early stage arrangement in his mind. Bloodthirsty Legion listens. Yes. Sankin Iron Armor shouted majestically, and his murderous form soared into the sky. Now, with the Demon Sea sect as our eyes, all the sects within 2,000 miles in the direction will slaughter the Mizong. I don't want to see any other sects within these 2,000 miles. Chen Fan said indifferently, his words were full of endless killing intent. In this northern wilderness where killing is a pleasure, no one has clean hands, so Chen Fan has no sympathy for these sects. He wants the name of the Demon Sea sect and the Bloodthirsty Legion to resound throughout the northern wilderness. Of course, there is also a reason to avenge his cheap master. The 5 martial saint sects who appeared in the back mountain are near the Demon Ocean sect. Yes. Master, we will definitely slaughter all the sects within 2,000 miles. The 3,000 people below were delighted, and the eyes under the mask burst into frenzy. Killing is their old line of work, and doing what they like most makes them feel extremely comfortable. By the way, there is one more thing. Don't kill the most outstanding disciples of sect. Bring them back to me. I will be of great use. Chen Fan has not forgotten the own task. His biggest task now is to quickly devour the luck of those sons of fortune and improve his own cultivation base. Yes. Everyone in the Bloodthirsty Legion said in unison. Then you go first. Chen Fan waved his hand. Suddenly, the figures of the 3,000 martial saints below flickered and disappeared into the void, and the great hall returned to calm. Eldest brother, Yu Qinglingzi looked at Chen Fan with a slightly strange gaze, and she felt that the elder brother in front of her seemed to have changed. Different from Wanyonyo before, he became full of domineering, as if the whole world was in his hands. Now he is decisive and ruthless. What's the matter? Junior sister. With a warm smile on Chen Fan's face, he looked at Qinglingzi. I feel that you have changed, big brother. Oh? Is that getting better or worse? Chen Fan asked with a smile. Of course it has changed for the better, and it should be like this for those people from the northern wilderness. Qinglingzi frowned, with a hint of murderous intent on her cute cheeks, and her big eyes full of hatred. Qinglingzi wandered all over the northern wilderness since he was a child, lonely and alone. In the end, she was met by Mo Haizi, and she was accepted as a disciple and brought back to sect, so Mo Haizong was her home. Now that the home is ruined, how could Qinglingzi not be angry? Seeing this, Chen Fan walked to Qinglingzi's side and patted her head, comforting her personally. Don't worry, from today onwards, there will be no sect in the northern wilderness that can bully us. I will make them regret living in this desolate northern wilderness. Chen Fan's eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty look. I believe in you, big brother. At the same time, 3,000 bloodthirsty legions martial saint crossed the void, starting from the Demon Sea sect, and began to spread around, carrying out a carpet-like massacre. The Bloodthirsty Legion showed its bloodthirsty fangs for the first time in this northern wilderness of the Black Tortoise world. From today onwards, the Bloodthirsty Legion will not make the entire northern sect feel terrified. Chapter 6 The killing begins. Show your skills on the first day of junior high school. 1,000 kilometers away from the Demon Sea sect, a Devil Deo sect is located here. Backed by hundreds of mountains and jungles, this sect is very rich in the northern wilderness. In addition, there are 2 strong martial saints in the sect, and no cultivator dares to come to make trouble. You must know that sect with martial saint can already be regarded as a first-class bulk, and it is also considered a small celebrity on the northern wilderness continent. Why hasn't the poisonous lady come back? In the great hall of the sect, an old man in black looked impatiently in the direction of Mo Haizong. A powerful terrifying aura flowed over him, and the dozens of girls in irregular clothes trembled and dared not speak. They know that their master is moody, and if they do something wrong, they will be brutally killed by him, and then thrown to the dogs. The old man in black is one of the 2 martial saints of the Devil Deo sect. He is extremely cruel and lustful. None of the young women in the entire sect escaped his clutches, and the disciplines in the sect dared not speak out, who let the old man have martial saints' cultivation base. This is a common phenomenon in the northern wilderness. Everything here is based on strength, and there is no kindness here. As long as you have enough strength, the northern wilderness can satisfy all your desires. Could something happen? He looked embarrassed, his brows were furrowed, and there was a sense of uneasiness in his heart. The poisonous woman he was talking about was really one of the 5 martial saints who went to Demon Sea Sect to explore the back mountain. He still doesn't know the news that the poisonous woman has lost her soul. It's impossible to have an accident. That old guy Mohiza took my full strength palm and couldn't last half an hour at all. The old man in black comforted himself, dispelled the uneasy thoughts in his heart, sat back on his seat, hugged several young girls in his arms, and let out a wicked smile in his mouth. At this time, the vision suddenly changed. A strong smell of blood came from outside the great hall, and the smirk on the face of the old man in black suddenly disappeared, and his 2 eyes seemed to be staring outside the great hall. Boom! Martial Saint's aura burst out wantonly from his body, and the dozens of girls around him didn't have time to let out a scream, and were all shocked to death by the strong aura. Ripples appeared in the void outside the great hall, and a figure in red and black with a strange mask walked into the great hall slowly. The strong pressure from Martial Saint in the great hall didn't seem to affect him at all. Who are you? The corners of the eyes of the old man in black shrank, and the cultivation base of the Martial Saint 5th stage leaked out, trying to shock those who came. Bloodthirsty Legion, the first day of the junior high school. The first day of the junior high school looked up at the old man in black, his eyes under the mask were covered with crimson. Under the master's order, slaughter all sects within a radius of 2,000 miles of the Demon Sea Sect. An indifferent voice sounded in the silent great hall. Master? Slaughter all sects within a radius of 2,000 miles of the Demon Sea Sect. The black-clothed old man was suddenly furious. Looking for death. The old man in black threw himself together angrily, pushed his palms forward, and made 2 100-meter palm prints full of corrosive power. Humph! Ignorant ants. A trace of sarcasm flashed in the first glance, and the aura of Martial Saint's peak burst out from his body. The crimson mist enveloped the entire great hall. The moment the 200-meter palm prints touched the blood mist, they shattered in the air, and endless fear filled the heart of the old man in black. How is this possible? Isn't Mohiza the only Martial Saint in Mohizang? How could there be a strong man at the peak of Martial Saint? Death. Chui snorted coldly, stretched out his palm and turned his claws to gently grasp the old man in black. The blood mist in the air turned into a red blood dragon, raised his head and groaned, and the sound of the dragon chant resounded throughout the sect inside. Senior, spare me! The black-clothed old man screamed, looking desperately at the attacking red-blooded blue dragon, trembling all over. Under the oppression of this mighty dragon's power, the old man in black didn't have the slightest thought of resisting and escaping. The gap between him and the first year of junior high school is like an ant meeting a black dragon. There is no comparison. This feeling makes the old man in black powerless. The first day of the Lunar New Year ignored the pleas of the old man in black, and the red dragon pierced through the old man's body in an instant, and the blood in the old man's body was swallowed by the red dragon. With a bang, the withered corpse of the old man in black fell from a height and hit the ground heavily. The red-blooded blue dragon raised its head in the air and let out a cheerful dragon chant, then rushed back into Chui's body. The bloodthirsty and violent aura on Chui's body became more intense, and a cold light shone from the 2 eyes under the mask. His soul gushed out of the head of the old man in black. Without any hesitation, he turned and fled towards the great hall. Do you still want to escape in my hands? Chui snorted coldly. A black vortex several meters in size appeared behind the black and red figure, and infinite devouring power flowed out of the vortex. Ah! The old man in black screamed, his soul was uncontrollably sucked into the black vortex under his desperate eyes, and he died. Chapter 7 Is this luck worth it? Far from enough. Walking out of the Great Hall on the first day of the Lunar New Year, at a glance, the Devil Deo sect at this moment is full of blood-stained limbs, and 100 members of the Bloodthirsty Legion are massacring the murderers of the sect indiscriminately. Under the massacre of 100 martial saints, they had no chance of counterattack, and the screams continued. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, he closed his eyes comfortably and listened to the screams in the air. This sound was like the sound of heaven in his heart. How long had it been since the sound had been heard? Hundreds of years. Or thousands of years. I didn't even know it in the first day of junior high school. A moment passed, and the screams stopped. 100 members of the Bloodthirsty Legion stood neatly in front of the first day of the junior high school. The smell of blood on their bodies was even stronger, and the 100 pairs of eyes were like the cold eyes of a hungry wolf in the middle of the night, exuding endless killing intent. Captain of the first grade of junior high school, these are the ones the master ordered to keep alive. A member of the Bloodthirsty Legion threw several unconscious cultivators on the ground with his hands. At this moment, Zone's talented and handsome man has long lost his high-spirited appearance, his whole body's cultivation base has been abolished, and his whole body's bones are broken and he lies limp on the ground. Take these people back to the master, and the other members will follow me to the next sect. The first day of the junior high school said, looking at the people on the ground indifferently. Then turned around and stepped into the void, disappearing in place. Yes. The 100 members of the Bloodthirsty Legion grinned ferociously, their eyes full of fanaticism. Only the member who was sent back to the Demon Sea sect showed a hint of displeasure. But the master's words must not be violated. Members of the Bloodthirsty Legion held several people on the ground in the air, and flew towards the Demon Sea sect. The surroundings returned to calm, only the blood-stained limbs all over the ground told future generations that a massacre had taken place here. And the massacre continues. The members of the Bloodthirsty Legion were divided into 30 teams, and they massacred all the sects within a radius of 2,000 miles of the Demon Sea sect. No sect can withstand the attack of the Bloodthirsty Legion. Blood and fire seem to have stained this land red today. The 5 martial saint sects who attacked the Demon Sea sect were the first to bear the brunt and were immediately slaughtered. All the talented disciples of the sect were sent to the Demon Sea sect by their cultivation base. In Chen Fan's room, Chen Fan looked at the dozens of outstanding talents sent from the ground, with a smirk on his face. The black air on his body surged. Chen Fan stretched out his finger and tapped lightly in the air. The black air turned into sharp arrows and pierced their heads in an instant. Ding! Congratulations to the host for gaining 5,000 luck points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 4,000 luck points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for gaining 5,000 luck points. As dozens of handsome geniuses died at Chen Fan's hands, the indifferent system prompts kept ringing in Chen Fan's mind. Chen Fan was taken aback for a moment. God's knowledge came to On's mind, and he walked to the system board to take a closer look. Good luck with the system. Host, Chen Fan. Cultivation base, Wu Zone 5th stage days. Physique, Haisha sacred body, not included in the ranking of the highest physique in the world. Luck value, 30,000. Cultivation technique, Black Fiend devouring skill, heaven level elementary cultivation technique. Items, none can only devour half of the original owner's luck points. Chen Fan fell into thought as he looked at the 30,000 luck points he had just obtained. After his observation just now, it seems that when he kills the Son of Fortune, he can only get half of the luck value. Now his luck value of 30,000 is not enough to draw another lottery. Good luck Lai Lai system needs 100,000 luck points for each lucky draw. No. It looks like we need to intensify. Chen Fan gritted his teeth and raised his head to look into the distance. As night fell slowly, Chen Fan had already killed countless bloodthirsty legions, and sent handsome geniuses from all major sects. All I know is that the luck value of On has skyrocketed from 30,000 points to 90,000 points. It's still 10,000 luck points away from the lottery draw. Chen Fan opened his eyes, and slowly walked out of the room. At this moment, All members of the bloodthirsty legion were standing quietly outside the room. The bloody smell on their bodies spread throughout the Demon Sea sect. After a day of killing, their spirits became more and more excited. The 3,000 pairs of red eyes were particularly scary in the dark night. The bloodthirsty legion pays homage to the master. 3,000 martial saints knelt on the ground respectfully when they saw Chen Fan coming out. "Let's do it," Chen Fan said lightly. Yes. 3,000 martial saints obeyed any instructions from Chen Fan. Even if Chen Fan asked them to commit suicide now, they would immediately end their own lives. "My lord, all the sects within the 2,000-kilometer range of the Demon Ocean sect have been slaughtered. What are the next instructions?" The 10 captains walked up to Chen Fan on the first day of the new year and asked. "Is it over?" Chen Fan felt regretful. After all, he hadn't gathered the luck he wanted. "Yes. Now there is only one sect within 2,000 miles of Moheizong. The first day of the junior high school confirmed. Then the bloodthirsty legion below is divided into 3 teams. One team is guarding the Demon Sea sect. The first team is divided into 4 teams to guard the surrounding area of the Demon Sea school, and the members of the other team are scattered all over the northern wilderness, and the daily events in the northern wilderness are recorded. Report back." Chen Fan made a simple deployment, leaving 2,000 martial saints to guard the Demon Ocean sect, and the other 1,000 martial saints were scattered throughout the northern wilderness to help him find other sons of fortune. "Yes." The 10 captains on the first day of the junior high school responded respectfully, then turned and disappeared into the void. Chen Fan looked at the empty space, shook his head lightly, and raised his head to look at the bright moon high in the sky. Chapter 8, The Northern Wilderness 7 Demons, pointing at the Demon Sea sect. This storm has just begun, and the real killing moment is now. With such a large realm, the news of the massacre of all sects will definitely spread throughout the northern wilderness. At that time, it will definitely attract a lot of sects' prying eyes. The northern wilderness will once again usher in new chaos. And this chaos will definitely sweep the entire northern wilderness. Not to mention, the moon in this world is really round. Chen Fan smiled lightly and returned to his own room. No one would have thought that this thin young man would be the mastermind behind the chaos in the northern wilderness. After a night of silence, the early sun slowly rose from the eastern sky. Sect, sacred land, and families all over the northern wilderness received a shocking news in the morning. All the sects within a radius of 2,000 li of the northern wilderness Demon Sea sect were massacred by unknown forces in one day yesterday, leaving no survivors. Now that 2,000 miles of realm belong to no man's land. The sect leaders of the major sects thought of this for the first time, and greed and cruelty flashed in their eyes. They would not have thought that this unknown force was the Demon Sea sect, because they all knew the background of any force in the northern wilderness. He has a thorough understanding of Moheizong. Soon the news spread throughout the northern wilderness, and all the cultivators on the northern wilderness gathered their eyes together. The calm before the storm is coming to an end. In a small section of the northern wilderness, the entire section was stained red with blood, and the corpses of countless disciples were scattered all over the mountain. In the high sky of the first peak, countless colorful beams of light are bursting wantonly. 5 figures floated leisurely in the sky, surrounding the 2 fighting in the middle. "Hey. Sixth, can you do it? It will take so long to deal with this trash." A middle-aged man laughed, his eyes full of sarcasm. He held a huge silver axe in his hand, and the blood was flowing in the huge axe. "Flow on the axe." "Humph, Ren Lao Lu, it takes so long for a Martial Saint 6th stage day cultivator to deal with a Martial Saint 3rd stage day trash, it really embarrasses us Kishaw." A woman in purple scolded, endless spring flowed from her willow eyebrows. The long nails of a dual cultivation suddenly turned dark purple, exuding a disgusting smell. "Enough. Old Wu and Lu Lao Si, shut up your stinking mouths. I just want to play with him. It's over now." A shout of anger came from the middle battlefield. Boom. The sky was covered, and 3,000 silver lights appeared behind the young man in the center. Old man, you can go and accompany your disciples and grandchildren. Ren Laolu showed a stern look on his face, and endless spiritual chi gushed out from his arms to attack the old man opposite him. The 3,000 silver lights in the sky pierced the sky, piercing the space and appearing in front of the old man in an instant. Ah 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 ah. The old man let out a scream, and his whole body was pierced into a mass of flesh and blood by the silver light that hit his face. The spirit of the old man shot out from his head in a hurry, breaking through the surrounding crowd and fleeing to the distant sky. You still want to escape? Ren Laoliu's face sank, his eyes were covered with silver, and his figure disappeared in place, ready to chase after the old man's soul. As long as the martial saint is immortal, he can take away the physical body of others. Of course, Ren Laolu didn't want to let the old man go like this. He had been in the northern wilderness for hundreds of years, and he still understood the truth that weeds should be eradicated. He, the little guy Ren Laolu is still so careless in his work, I really want to love him well. Lu Lao Si covered his mouth with his fingers and laughed, his eyes were full of spring. When the other people heard the words, they suddenly felt trembling all over, and glanced at Lu Lao Si fearfully. The people you love seem to end up like humans. Sister Lu, please let me go, I know I was wrong. Ren Laoliu's ears moved, and when he heard Lu Lao Si's words, his face instantly became bitter. Enough. Suddenly a cold snort appeared in the sky, and the whole mountain trembled. The 6 members of Kisha looked at the sky with fear and respect on their faces, and they didn't look like they were joking just now. Lai Yang was covered by a black shadow, and soon the black shadow landed in front of everyone. An old man in black clothes whose waist was bent to the solace of his feet appeared. He was dressed in ragged black clothes, with only a few white hairs floating in the air on the top of his head, and a dead breath gushed out from the old man. This is the dying old man who is the leader of Kisha, Bai Lai. No one knows how long he has lived in this desolate northern wilderness, not even the other 6 evil spirits. All I know is that his methods are extremely cruel, and if something is targeted by him, it will not fall into the hands of others. And what he likes to do most is to destroy people everywhere, from the dying old man to the newborn baby, no one can survive from his hands. It is precisely because of his deeds that few people in the northern wilderness dare to provoke this lunatic. It's almost time to play, it's time to get down to business. Bai Lao said as soon as he opened his mouth, his hoarse voice seemed to be the sound of metal rubbing against the ground. Bai Lai slowly raised his head, and 2 beams of purple charm burst out instantly, shooting towards the spirit of the old man who was running away in the distance. With a bang, the purple light beam of divine charm pierced through the old man's soul in an instant, and the old man's soul disappeared into the world. Seeing this, Ren Laoliu trembled all over. He hurriedly flew back to Bai Lai, and the other 5 did the same. Chapter 9: The Storm That Stirs Up the Entire Northern Wilderness. Boss. The 6 people shouted obediently and respectfully. Okay, don't gossip, there is a big benefit waiting for us now. Bai Lai said indifferently. According to the news, with the Demon Sea sect as the eye, all the sects within a radius of 2,000 miles were annihilated by a mysterious force yesterday. What? The other 6 looked at Bai Lai in shock. In one day, without disturbing other forces in the northern wilderness, you wiped out dozens of sects. A scholar of Baiji frowned, thinking about something with his head down. Seeing this, the others didn't bother Scholar Baiji. The second son of the book, Kisha, is ranked second, don't be fooled by his handsome appearance. Except for Bai Lai, whose cultivation base is stronger than him, the rest of them are not his opponents at all. In addition to his profound cultivation base, Shu Er is more frightening because of his wisdom and ingenuity. As for why he fled to the northern wilderness and became a member of Cheng Kisha, there are many explanations. According to his own description, he offended a supreme divine sect in Nanzhou, and that supreme divine sect sent 3 strong martial saints to kill him. But in the end, the 3 martial saints of the supreme God sect all died tragically in the hands of Shu Er, who was also cornered by the supreme Shenzong and fled to the northern wilderness. In the end, I got to know Bai Lai and joined him in the Kisha organization. Boss, is this a trick we're playing? Shu Er raised his head and asked. This shouldn't be possible. This news is spreading all over the northern wilderness. Countless sects have secretly mobilized people to fight for this territory. Bai Lai said. Second, you don't have to be so cautious. This time we are dispatched together by Kisha, I still don't believe there is any sect in the northern wilderness that can keep us. Bai Lai said seriously, his tone full of murderous intent. Then listen to the boss's arrangement. Shu Er nodded, dispelling the fear in his heart. What Bai Lai said is right, as long as they half enter the northern wilderness where the great saint is not out, there really are not many sects who have the strength to keep them. As for the half-entry great saint, that is the existence of only first-class sects, and there are only 5 first-class sects in the entire northern wilderness. They also look down on the territory of these 2,000 miles, and they will not let the half-entrant great saint be dispatched. Then let's go. Kisha wants the territory of these 2,000 miles. Bai Lai said. Ha ha ha, do you have a territory of 2,000 miles? How many spirit stones mountain ranges? This time we made it? Ren Laoliu's eyes were full of greed, and a maniacal laugh appeared on his face. The figures of the 7 people disappeared in the sky, turned into 7 rainbows and flew towards Mo Haizong. At the same time, all the forces in the northern wilderness surged secretly, staring in the direction of Mo Haizong. No one will let go of the fat meat of the 2,000 li territory, even the first-class sect is no exception. In the Black Fiend sect, the sect leader gathered the 5 martial saints of the sect early in the morning. Elders, I believe you have all received news from Mo Haizong. The 2,000-mile territory is too tempting. I don't believe that the guys from the other 4 sects didn't make any moves. Now you go secretly to the Demon Sea sect and seize this territory. Yes. The 5 martial saint powerhouses of the Black Fiend sect said in unison, and their figures disappeared into the void. At the same time, the other 4 first-class sects in the northern wilderness, as the sect leader of the Black Evil sect said, secretly sent martial saint to the Demon Sea sect. The current Mo Haizong is in the center of the entire storm. On an uninhabited mountain peak in Baihuang, a white figure walking out from the back mountain of Mo Haizong was standing on the peak of the mountain, staring blankly at the sky. My relationship with Demon Sea sect's karma is over, whether we can survive or not depends on their own good fortune. A faint female voice came from the white figure, which was soul-stirring. At the same time, Chen Fan in the Demon Sea sect had just woken up from his practice, and a black and red figure walked out of the void on the first day of the junior high school, and stood respectfully aside. My lord, just this morning, a lot of cultivators appeared outside the territory of the Demon Ocean sect. They are all hiding in the dark and don't know what to do. Chen Fan was not surprised when he heard this, all of this was within his expectation. Now the entire territory of 2,000 miles is occupied by Mo Haizong. With the chaos in the northern wilderness, there is no problem if no one is keeping an eye on him. Chen Fan walked out of the room slowly, raised his head and glanced at Chu Yang who had just risen up, and an infinite cold light flashed in his eyes. The good show starts now. The corners of Chen Fan's mouth raised, revealing a sinister smile. Chen Fan turned to look at Chu Yi and said, "Pass my order down. Members of the Bloodthirsty Legion stationed outside are not allowed to step out of the territory on their own initiative." Yes. The first day of the junior high school touched his head and said in a puzzled way. He didn't understand what the Lord was thinking. In his opinion those hiding in the dark were just ants. As long as the Bloodthirsty Legion is dispatched, these ants will be defeated in an instant. But Chen Fan's order is destiny, and the first graders will carry it out seriously without any doubt. Of course, if someone steps into the territory of the Demon Sea sect, kill them directly. Chen Fan sneered. By the way, count their information for me. Yes. The first day of the junior high school said respectfully, and then the whole person disappeared into the void. Is the storm about to come? Let me stir up the entire northern wilderness. Chen Fan looked into the distance and muttered to himself, his body full of murderous intent. Chapter 10 The Bloodthirsty Legion Attacks, Kisha shocked. On a mountain peak 2,000 miles away from the Demon Sea sect, ripples suddenly appeared in the void on the mountain without a trace of greenery, and 7 figures walked out of the void. Boom! The powerful cultivation base breath of the 7 martial saints permeated the entire sky, and the faces of other northern wilderness forces hidden in the dark instantly showed fear. Northern Desolation 7 demons. Are they coming too? Or should we dispatch all of them? It seems that they are also eyeing this piece of fat. Tisk tisk tisk, Lian Bailayi, an old bastard, has appeared. This time there is a good show to watch. Those who came out of the void were the 7 evil spirits and 7 people who came. Boss, it seems that there is a lot of rubbish gathered here. Ren Laolio laughed loudly, and his voice resounded for miles. Don't worry about these rubbish, let's find out the situation ahead first. Bailayi's hoarse voice came out. Yes. The other 6 said in unison. The 7 of them set out to infiltrate the territory of the Demon Sea sect, which shook the hearts of other forces hiding in the dark. The reason why they hid in the dark and didn't make a move was that they were a little afraid of the mysterious forces that wiped out dozens of sects. But now, it seems that there are no mysterious forces, and there should be no cultivator within these 2,000 miles. Let's go. Hurry up. Otherwise, the Kisha will take away all the benefits. Many cultivators leaked out of the darkness and flew in the direction of Mo Haizong. Humph! You cowardly rat! Ren Laolu laughed at the crowd behind him. I'll deal with these trash later. Shu Er's handsome cheeks were also gloomy, and a cold light kept flashing in his eyes. The figures of the 7 people did not stop, they flew out of the mountain and dived forward. But the moment they set foot on the territory of the Demon Sea sect, an indifferent voice suddenly rang in Kisha's ears. Step into the territory of the Demon Sea sect without authorization, die. Endless killing intent rushed towards his face, and Kisha's heart was shocked by the strong killing intent. The 7 suddenly raised their heads and looked at the sky solemnly, all the spiritual chi on their bodies surged to protect their own bodies. The sky was surging, and 10 black and red figures appeared in the sky. The black and red clothes exuded a faint smell of blood, and all 10 people wore weird metal masks on their faces, and the grimaces on the masks seemed to cry and laugh. The second grader looked down at Kisha and the others coldly. You have stepped into the territory of my Demon Sea sect, now you can end it yourself. Arrogance. The 7 fiends below were suddenly furious. When had they been so underestimated in the northern wilderness? Kill yourself? Do they think their Kisha's fierce reputation is for nothing? Kill these people. Bai Lao gave the order one by one, and the other 6 people killed the 10 members of the bloodthirsty legion high in the sky in unison. 6 powerful martial saint breaths poured out from Chi Sha and the others, permeating the sky, and the 6 people attacked accordingly. Kill. Lu Laozi raised his eyebrows slightly, and moved his hands forward to paw. 10 sky-piercing claws attacked the second day of junior high school. The silver light surged and occupied the entire sky. Ren Laolu laughed ferociously on his face, and with a fingernail pointing, the silver light shot out all over the sky. Several other attacks followed. But the scene that happened below instantly made them all dumbfounded. The second day of junior high school saw that the attack did not move at all, and a sneer appeared on the face under the mask. Boom! Chu raised his foot and stomped lightly in the air. A crimson wave appeared and spread from Chu feet. The moment Lu Laozi's sharp claws touched the red sound waves, his whole body felt as if he had been struck by lightning, and he vomited blood and flew backwards. Ren Laoliu was even more miserable. Without any chance to react, the crimson sound directly cut him in half, and blood and unknown organs flowed out from his waist. The 6 members of Kisha were all seriously injured under a single strike in the second year of junior high school. Marshall Saint Pinnacle. Everyone looked at the figures of 10 people in the second grade of junior high in the sky in shock. Kisha raised his head and looked solemnly at the members of the Bloodthirsty Legion of Jaekang Junior 2nd class. Marshall Saint Pinnacle. The other cultivators exclaimed unceasingly. They did not expect such an existence of Mo Haizong, which did not match the information they obtained from their investigation. How can there be a cultivator at the peak of Marshall Saint? How about we withdraw? Advertisement withdraw. What are you thinking? It's just a peak Marshall Saint. Does he want to hold us all? Don't forget that Bailayi is also a cultivator at the peak Marshall Saint. We'll just wait and see. The cultivators from all walks of life in the northern wilderness hide in the void, watching the development of the situation. Damn it! Ren Laoliu roared, his eyes were covered with ferocity. He was the most injured in the blow just now, his body was cut off in half. Ren Laoliu grasped the palm of his hand, and the lower body that fell on the ground flew in front of him, and the spiritual chi surged, and soon Ren Laoliu healed his own body. The cultivator at the peak of Marshall Saint, no wonder he speaks so loudly. Bailayi rose slowly, and stood in front of the second grader. The terrifying pressure of the peak of Marshall Saint burst out from his body. Bailayi looked at the second grade of junior high school with his cloudy eyes, and said indifferently, "But you want to stop me and the Kisha people with your own strength? It's ridiculous." The other 6 evil spirits got up and flew behind Bailayi, and 7 monstrous breaths broke through the sky in an instant, covering Chu Er and the others. Ridiculous. The second day of junior high school raised his head, and the mask that seemed to be crying and smiling began to blur, and the drop of red blood on the forehead of the mask seemed to come alive and kept beating. Only by you, how can you be qualified to stand shoulder to shoulder with my bloodthirsty legion? The second day of junior high school stepped forward, and the supreme coercion appeared. Wait, how are you qualified to stand shoulder to shoulder with my bloodthirsty legion? The 9 members of the bloodthirsty legion behind them also stepped forward, and the breath of the peak of Marshall Saint burst out. The voice was so loud that it resounded through the entire sky.